February the 13th. This is part 2 where we're looking at cybersecurity stocks, CSCO, SPLK, and Cyber. Where we left the video in part 1 was saying we weren't sure if CSCO had earnings, and that's what caused its drop today. So we go to earningswhispers.com, and CSCO in fact did report second quarter earnings yesterday of 77 cents per share, just beating by 1 cent on revenue that was just a little bit higher. So I'm not a subscriber here, so I can't look at any more, but we know that they had earnings. Let's just take a look and see about cyber. So CYBR Cyber. Also February the 12th, but they don't have the details here. But now we know that we had 2 stocks that had earnings. And what happened? CSCO dropped, forming this gap opportunity. So let's draw that gap in there, because you know that I'm big on gaps. And this gap is going to represent an area of resistance. So we're not ready to jump into CSCO yet. We're going to wait until the selling stops. On Cyber, which also had earnings, we've got another drop here. So we're going to put this support zone. So why do we have 2 companies reporting not so great earnings, or at least earnings that don't really satisfy the analysts or the stock market? So they've dropped. Now we found support on the 200, so that's a positive thing. We're still going to keep our eye on Cyber, but I'm not super excited about it. Just not. The third one we're going to look at is SPLK. SPLK has a 5 score, which is lower than the other 2. Analysts are rating it a strong buy. The current stock is currently trading for 170. The analyst consensus is 165. We're going to have to take a look at that and find out why. Bloggers are bullish. Hedge fund activity decreased. Insiders have been selling shares, but they may not be informative. News sentiment has been very bullish. Let's look at the analysts. 5 hours ago, a buy from a 5-star analyst. A buy 2 days ago, just before earnings. And then we have to go 23 days ago. But look at all the buy ratings. Let's just take a look at if we just take a look at our best performing analysts, they're still only giving it a 167.46 target. And we're already above that. Insiders, uninformative. There's an informative sell where Susan St. Ledger, the president of Worldwide Field Operations, 2 months ago sold 2 million. I guess she knew something 2 months ago, and she was spot on. 2 months ago, this guy, the CAO, sold, and 2 months ago, 2 months ago, these people knew what their earnings were going to be, so they took advantage of it. Hedge funds. Here we've got Ray Dalio, who sold out. Remember, he sold out of SPLK, and he bought into, to the tune of 3.4 million, he bought into CSCO. CSCO certainly has the name recognition out there. You want to go and look a little bit more about SPLK and see the size of their company and so on. So very negative in the hedge funds. CSCO, very negative in the hedge funds as well. If you want to look at other stocks that are in the same area, you can look at similar. You can download a PDF and that'll tell you a lot about it if you're a subscriber. So now let's go look at our third chart, which is SPLK. And that's a really interesting chart. And I'm looking at it on this weekly basis, going all the way back to 2013. And I've drawn a bunch of Fibonacci's. I've drawn this Fibonacci, Oh, we didn't want that. Sorry. I'd drawn this Fibonacci as an extension to see where it would go on a continuation from this wave up. I've drawn a similar one here. I've taken an expansion saying, will it repeat this wave? And the key thing is here is let's look at common, and I drew a third one. But again, it's also overbought. Let's look at common Fibonacci's and see if we have a good one here. First of all, the cloud is telling us that it's a good indicator. Look down here where the cloud was support, the cloud was support, the cloud was support. The bottom of the cloud was support. Lost the bottom of the cloud, but now it's way above the cloud. So it is moving higher. Where is it moving in terms of Fibonacci's? Let's now go to the daily. And let's stay on the weekly because we've got all of our Fibonacci showing. I could move them all to the right, and then we'll be able to see them all. Move them to the right. Now let's go to the daily. We still have one more that we have to move. Doesn't matter. We're taking up too much time. Let's go back to the weekly. We've got a 178.6 and a 178.6 here. Two of those. This one has been resistance yesterday, and it's resistance, but we're breaking through it today. We've got a 200% up here and a 138 and another 200%. So this looks like we've got three Fibonacci's pretty much agreeing with each other. So 186, 188 could be a target from a technical levels point of view. Last thing, let's look at the volume and look at the buying that's taking place. A lot of buying back here, which caused this pop after getting support on the bottom of the cloud. Splunk is definitely one to look forward to. So CSCO and Splunk is what we'll keep our eyes on. And in our daily videos, we will add those two.